Good evening. Welcome to Starkey Farmstead. So it's been a while since I've done a tour through the garden. Sunday evening, we didn't get to make it back to Sunday night church. Stephen was in a little bit of pain and he did a great job vacuum-sealing a bunch of stuff for me. So I'm going to just walk you guys real quick through the garden, show you some of the things that we're dealing with and how we're handling each and every issue, not necessarily problem, that we come up to, okay? So I hope you enjoy this segment. Hopefully it won't be that long. I always say that, then I'll start chattering, so we all know. So let's get in this garden. Okay, so let's talk about these tomatoes. Noticed this the other day. I did a little bit of research. There's literally like 6 different things that can cause your tomato plants to start, the leaves to start yellowing. All right, so I had yellowing in different places. I had it at the top. Here's an example over here of the yellowing and the brown at the bottom. See that leaf? Now I did come out, I did some pretty heavy pruning in different areas. I tell you guys this all the time. I am on compacted red clay. This is a first year no-till. In fact, it's the first time that this area, all the way to that white tarp, has grown food of any sort, to my knowledge, in over 25 years. So I pretty much just had dead soil. Okay, so we have a lot of issues going on, but we're working on them. We had things like this. So what I started to realize when I was looking all this up was it's going to come down to moisture and nutrients and what my garden can actually pull out of this clay. It was doing, in my opinion, much better in the drought than it was actually doing with all this heavy rain. But that is one zucchini plant. Look at that. I mean, it's taking up the whole aisle, but it is gorgeous. Look at that big bad boy. So everything in the garden got sprayed last night with a rabbit manure and urine tea that I had basically brewed, along with a comfrey tea mixed into that, with a little bit of worm casting tea mixed in it too. I did speak to Miss Donna Isaacs about using multiple foliar sprays at one time, and the consensus kind of works like this. Everybody's kind of in agreement. Whatever your plant needs, it's going to draw that when you spray it. So if you got a mixture going on and your plant needs potassium, this one needs magnesium, that one needs nitrogen, this one needs calcium. If you've got all that kind of mixed together in a foliar spray of all organic stuff, then your plant's going to pull what it needs. It is growing. If you've watched any of our previous videos, this is row 2 of the tomatoes, and look at them all topping the tops of their trellises. So I'm going to have to look into, do I want to top the tomato? How do I do that? You know, topping it, stopping its growth from going up, and letting me see if I can get more tomatoes. We are starting to get red tomatoes. And I am, again, that gets me excited. I'm real excited. I did lose some tomato plants. You can see these big gaps in the fence where there's nothing. That's because I lost them. Because my ground, the clay underneath, guys, when it pours rain on it, it just sucks that moisture in and then closes itself back up. And it's like just a big mushy ball of clay. All right, so we're working on that. That's why we're taking our time. We're amending the soil. I keep telling y'all that. I'm super excited that we were able to grow this much food totally organic. All right, and I wish you guys could have seen what I just saw. The most beautiful red birds and breeds of bird I'd never seen before, just lining these fences. Okay, so I noticed, I tell you that because I noticed giving tours this weekend, I was like, whoa, I got hit. Obviously, I could see the damage from the dreaded hornworm, right? Because I couldn't check Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. Couldn't get out here and really check my plants. My husband had surgery, had tours. Didn't have time to examine every plant, and there are a lot of tomato plants. All right, so when I say obvious damage, here it is. All right, that's what that worm does, right? It just eats it. See it right here too? Just eats it. But no matter how many times I check, guess what I can't find? One worm. Not one. They're not here. So what I honestly believe happened, they began to eat my plants. Here's a great example. Look at this. All these, right? That is all hornworm damage. Tomato hornworms. But these birds, they keep coming and sitting on my fences. They are not here to eat my tomatoes. You want me to tell you how I know? My tomatoes are still on the vines. So what they are doing though are pest control at a tremendous rate, because obviously even with the damage that I'm seeing, I can't find the worms. Like, no, I know it's fine to say you need to check really careful. I have checked really careful. They are not here. They are gone. So the worm came, it came to eat the plant, and the bird came to eat the worm. So I'm not going to spray my plants. I'm not going to freak out about it, because there's an ecosystem here, and every time I let nature take care of itself, I let the predators come in and build up and begin to take care of the pests for me, guys. It means, A, my food is completely organic. It reminds me that my property is becoming healthier and healthier. All right. So I had a lot, let me go ahead and show you all this. Had a lot of yellowing in some of my bell pepper and my hot pepper plants. A lot of yellowing, much better today. This is only 24 hours after I sprayed. Much, much better. The coloring I'm seeing across this garden is all shades of deep, happy green. You can see it. It's like just a green kaleidoscope. Everything's just a good, happy green. There's still a few things like these where you still got a little yellowing, but that foliar spray, that plant needs a couple of days to absorb it, like you with antibiotics when you need them, to get it into your system for it to then be able to, begin to work. I noticed, like, even my squash plants were showing, you notice a lack of nutrients. I think it's because there's so much water, the clay is not really letting it absorb. So see, this is from what I understand, its own version of like not enough nutrients. I noticed some yellowing and marbling here. I did notice a little bit of powdery mildew up in here. I started to open it up so it gets more airflow. This is one squash plant. Guys, I prune it. Look around the ground. I chop and drop, so it's obvious that I cut back and I prune, but it just keeps producing, This one plant had been hit by squash vine borer a couple of times. I did use the Louisiana hot sauce and Vaseline technique on it. I caught it very early. The plant is still healthy and producing and trying to grow out, but look what's planted right beside it. Peppermint. Okay, there's comfrey right here in the center. Coming up, peppermint again. Now here's the cucumber plant. Okay, again, I keep cutting off all these little growth ends on it, right? I just keep cutting them back. They just keep coming. But I haven't had the pest issues with this plant, and I'm really believing it's because of that peppermint. Or this plant, again, because of that peppermint. All right? So you gotta I didn't have enough time this year to really get my companion planting in the way I wanted to, but you've got to learn about companion planting, mixing the herbs into your garden. Not only that, it's got these little dainty, beautiful flowers on this peppermint, and that pulls in the little tiny parasitic wasp. So they're just like chilling on this bush in the mornings and the late evenings, and then, it brings in the bees. And guys, a lot of them are parasitic. Well, they're predators, okay? So what they'll do is you'll see a dragonfly sitting on a leaf literally eating a squash bug or a cucumber beetle. They're not just flying around your yard doing nothing. I mean, these can become, your good bugs can become predator bugs. And I wanted to show y'all, this cucumber plant is just producing, I keep missing them, the most beautiful cucumbers. I can't keep them. People continually calling me, hey, you have more cucumbers. And I'm like, I do, but I'd like to make some pickles. And they're like, well, can I buy them from you? Because look at that. I mean, it's just really producing. And there's so many babies growing in here. So if you get your soil amended and you can provide that plant with enough nutrients, it will produce just so much food. One healthy plant can produce so much food. Okay, so I just wanted you guys to kind of really see that. And we had, like I said, we haven't walked around the garden very much. Look at this, is one pepper plant. Look at this. Like, I can't keep it tied up. It's so heavy. Look at these. They're beautiful. So get your soil amended. Stop tilling. Stop tilling. Stop spraying. Even though, like I said, I was seeing some powdery mildew. You can see something going on up in the middle of that. I'll cut those off tomorrow morning. Guys, worm casting tea, rabbit manure, rabbit urine, comfrey tea. Mixed together, sprayed on these plants last night. I don't need anything else. I don't need anything else, because a healthy plant can defend itself to an extent against disease. You're going to have some issues caused by your property, you know, like in Louisiana, a lot of humidity, a lot of moisture. So sometimes we're going to lose plants to fungus and things like that. That's okay. If it's only 1 or 2 plants, pull them up, get them out of there. But I just really wanted to show you guys how well the garden's going this year. Again, this is a first year quarter acre. It will be a quarter acre once I get it totally planted in the fall. A quarter acre, no-till, organic, regenerative market garden in southeast Louisiana, and it is thriving. It's thriving. So just want to show y'all that, let you know that your garden doesn't have to be beautiful. It doesn't have to be completely weed free, but I'm gonna tell you what, this trash hay has done amazing, because the weeds are really just kind of coming in. But this garden's been here for 3.5 months, and it's taken them that long to really push themselves up through that hay and come back. So I'm not worried about it. We'll be doing cover crops of this area in the fall, at the end of the fall planting season, and then we will lay those cover crops down in the spring, and they will be the mulch that will cover this area and smother out the grass and weeds that has come through. As for now, I'm going to leave them. I mean, I might take my little weed eater and weed whack a couple of little areas just to make it flat, but I'm not going to stress over it. Like my dad said, like Papa Sammy says all the time, I came to garden, not to weed. So quit stressing over a few weeds. Get your mulch thick. People are like, I put mulch, the weeds came through. How thick did you put it? Because this was over 1 foot in places when we originally laid it. Some places were over 2 feet. And those areas that were thicker have done much better keeping the weeds out than the areas that we started to run, excuse me, a little low on mulch, a little, little low on hay, and we put that down. And I guess we put it down not as thick. And those are the areas, especially along right here, where we actually planted the plants. We pulled the hay back and drilled the holes, put the plants, and pushed the hay back in together. When we did that, it didn't cover as well, and the weeds between the plants are much, much greater. Look at this. Look what I'm trying to show you. Look where the weeds really are, right? Look where the food is. In the rows in between, it's not nearly as bad as it is where we planted the food. It's true like this across our entire garden. See where the fence is? The weeds are greater there than they are anywhere else. And that's because we moved the hay back. We broke it apart. When we did, it wasn't matted down anymore. The sun got through. The grass underneath regrew itself. Just things to think about. So you guys have a blessed day. Hope you enjoy just getting a little bit of view of the garden. I know we've been doing a lot of videos and other stuff, but some of you are here for just the garden.